Hey guys, Sunit here. In this video, I'm gonna cover the Mendeln ring as well as some stuff at Lilith. First, I wanted to do two separate videos, but then I noticed that I'm covering some stuff that is either specific to the Mendeln ring or to the Necromancer in general at Lilith. So I thought it would be okay to keep it in one video. Um, I will let you know when we hop into the Lilith part if you don't care about that. So for now, I will keep this as a one taker, hopefully, um, because I would just mainly want to get the information out there. Because ever since some of my 300 million Lilith hits or 500 million Lilith hits, or my recent almost ungeared Lilith kill happened, there's a lot of misinformation being spread why the Mendeln build is strong, why it is working, what the bone prism bug exactly is, and it really is doing, and if the build is even viable after that, because a lot of the content creators don't look really into detail what's going on, and some really made some ridiculous claims about this build and altered it a little bit. And yeah, some informations about it are just straight up completely wrong. They have no footage to back their claims. And yeah, we can debunk some stuff here, just like for fun. And I'm also getting messaged daily about something. So maybe this helps to clarify it. So just like Red, hop right into the footage. Um, First of all, like, is Bone Prison a minion? In general, to some extent, it is. Death Defense does work. This will prevent the Bone Prison from being a one-shot, as well as, for example, the maximum minion life stat will increase the HP of the Bone Prison. Like, I don't have footage for this. You can take my word for it. Take it with a grain of salt. You don't have to believe me if I can't show it to you, but I tested it and I'm pretty sure it was like that. It's like some time ago, but like I would say I can almost guarantee it is. For the next part is it's Blood Search and the Death Speaker's Pendant. Yes, this works. Like the Death Speaker's Pendant does Blood Search explosions at each of the segments of the Bone Prison. So in terms of the Death Speaker's Pendant, the Bone Prison is a melee, like a minion. Sorry. But then now we move on to Mendel. Like this was just basic stuff, like how to scale it. Is it generally a minion? It is. But now we move into the important stuff, which is Mendel. What I've heard a lot about Mendel is that the Mendel damage is broken because Bone Prison is a minion. It to like Bone Prison is a minion. The damage is insane because of Bone Prison, but not because Bone Prison does any damage at all. It's only generating lucky hits. In this footage, I will place that mob in the top left into Bone Prison. You will see my minions are ramping up. They are killing everything. They are fully amplified by the damage from Mendeln. But that mob on the top left is still there. Because Bone Prison is irrelevant for damage besides generating lucky hits. So as soon as Bone Prison will get changed, we just need another lucky hit source. And I will show you that this is not an issue at all. And now I would just do the same stuff with a different group. My minutes are still fully amplified, killing everything. There's an elite spawning, I think, now. Yeah, there he is. I move back. This is still the same enemy. Put it in Bone Prison, minions amplified, and there's like a 2 million hit. It's not that much because I'm not applying like vulnerable. Everything is missing on it, so it's not really a big hit. And also Barber procs when the enemy's max HP is reached. So The next claim I've seen is that Bone Prison is a minion that counts towards the minion count of Mendeln. Like, this is also not true. Like, I don't know why this is a thing that someone claims it, but it's so easy to test. I now have 6 minions out, and obviously, I would just leave it running, speed it up a little bit because this is rather boring. With 6 minions at the Bone Prison, nothing is happening. Like, he is not amplified. Like, now everything is in the Bone Prison, nothing is happening. And what I do now is I undo the sacrifice for my mage. And now I revive him. And boom. 7 minions, proc, dead. Some fly spawn, Bone Prison, proc, dead. And that's how it works. And now we move on to another claim I've heard recently, is that Blighted Corpse Explosion is a very good source for lucky hits in the Mendeln build. The claim is that lucky hit on Blighted Corpse Explosion is like the whole amount on each of the ticks, which would be 12 ticks per Blighted Corpse Explosion, with at least 40% if you don't have any additional lucky hit chance. So now we can check how often Mendeln is proccing. Speed it up. Does not really look like a one-shot to me. Takes fairly long, not really a lot of Mendeln procs happening. So yeah, I don't know what test method was used to come to the conclusion that Blighted Corpse Explosion is a good lucky hit generator for Mendeln. Yeah, but I can't confirm that. And now I will test some additional abilities, because in my one-shots, these are the abilities I'm using. Now I will show you that I'm not really getting my lucky hits from Tendrils either. Like, Tendrils is a good skill for lucky hits in a group, really. Corpse Explosion is also to some extent, but it seems like Tendrils are like very strong. But my footage is mainly about single target normally, like, because I get asked about my Lilith bursts. So are Tendrils good for Mendeln procs in a single target? I would say no. They proc often for how often you use them, but they will not let you burst Lilith, besides obviously the aspect that's like helping a lot. But yeah, not really any procs happening. And now we will move on to Bone Storm. This is another ability I'm using. So I just speed it up. Bone Storm, how many lucky hits will we get? How much damage are we doing? Like, it's not really that much. So Bone Storm is not it. Corpse Explosion is not it. Tendrils is not it. What's left? It's obviously the Bone Prison. But for now, we will also check something else I've heard. This is true to some extent. This is the splintering aspect, where the Bone Prison does some damage when it expires or explodes. Like, here was a proc, but we will forget about that, because there were also some corpse explosions up. But we'll see on my next usage. These explosions here, these are definitely Mendeln procs, so it does work, but you don't use it often enough to be significant, in my opinion. You'll see it again in a second. By the way, minions do not proc Mendeln. The only thing minions can proc is Decrepify, either with Thorns or with special abilities, for example, like the Reap, like the big hit from the Reapers. So there you see it again. I proc that Bone Prison, and there are some explosions, like right here, for example. So it does work, but it's not really significant. Because you can't spam it. That's the issue. I think I'll go into another try just to like show again it's not really viable. Like it will proc in the big pull definitely, because if you have a lot of targets, there are more options for lucky hits to proc. I mean, this time, for example, it did not proc. So yeah, it does work. And now we get into the part where I show you why the lucky hits are occurring. So this is a Bone Prison without Ghastly Bone Prison. Nothing is happening. Minions are doing. And now I spec Ghastly Bone Prison, which is causing the vulnerable application. Now you see me casting my next Bone Prison. The enemies are getting vulnerable, and bam. Everything dying. That's how we generate the lucky hits. So now you might say, this build will only work if you have Bone Prison, because this is the only lucky hit chance you're using. This is true because Bone Prison is currently very strong, but as soon as I swap out Bone Prison and take something else that's ridiculously broken in terms of lucky hit, which would be, for example, Bone Spear. We can check how the damage is with Bone Spear. As I said, like the same abilities, Corpse Tendrils, not really significant for lucky hits. Corpse Explosions, also not. And Bone Storm, also not relevant. So that huge damage swing that we are seeing in a second, that's because of lucky hits from Bone Spear. Bam. She's almost, like, she's 25%-ish. Right now I could just progress the fight. Everything is fine. Speed it up. I'm gonna die in a second because it's just a showcase. And from this point on, this will be mainly about Lilith. Where I show you some issues you might encounter when fighting Lilith. I keep Bone Spear first because it's easier to do less damage with Bone Spear. Because I wanted to show you a specific bug. Right now she's about 60-65%. And this will force her to spawn the first set of ads. Below 75% and above something like 40%, like in between that, she will spawn the first set of ads, like the two big guys. And now I can't deal any damage because Barbara is delaying my damage. Damage is being applied. And now she is at below the threshold to spawn the second set of ads, which will also force her to do the second set of wave patterns. But since she already spawned the first set of ads, the two guys, instead of the three, which is the second set, she won't stop with the wave pattern because the second wave pattern stops when you kill the second set of ads, but they never spawned. So this will be an infinite wave pattern now. It won't end. Regardless of what you do, how long you're gonna do it, if you damage her, nothing will stop this. This is a bug. It existed always. A lot of the players started encountering it because of the damage delay of Barber now. I knew this bug before because with Mendeln the damage was so inconsistent and bursty before as well, so I could encounter this bug fairly often before as well. So I can guarantee you this was always the case. It's just the way most players apply damage right now is different. And now I can show you what you can do about it. Now I swapped to Bone Prison, but that's not really important for this part. So right now I'm pushing her. She's a little bit above 50%. So she will spawn the first set of ads. And if Barber would explode, she will be somewhere below 25% at least. And that will cause the bug again, as we already know. So what I'm doing is I'm swapping out the Barber ring. My ring of Mendeln had the Barber gem in it. Yes, you can see it right now. This will cleanse the debuff of Barber on Lilith. So right now, no damage is being accumulated. Everything is fine. So I can progress the fight normally. Because I did not push her too far. Like, that's something you can do to prevent this bug from happening. Like, I can speed it up. Like, I will only show that this fight is working normally now. At the second spawn, you can just straight up nuke her. Like, there's no threshold at this point. Like, at this point, you can just straight up nuke. As soon as you see 3 demons, you are fine. It's only when you see 2 demons and she drops below 40%. Then you are doomed. So now, kill them. Okay. And now it would be second phase. At this point, by the way, I always unequip the Sacrilegious Heart, which is in my neck, because it would consume all my corpses. After recording everything, I noticed that I forgot one thing that I always mention, is that there is one thing you can also do in specific scenarios to prevent that infinite wave bug from happening, which is as follows. You just play the fight normally with your Barber equipped, and in this is another Mendeln ring without Barber. I will show you why I have it. Like right now, she is somewhere like 40%, I would say. This will still force her to spawn the first set of ads. And I would have to unequip my Barber to cleanse the debuff and wait, as we know. But what I'm doing right now is I just equip the other Mendeln ring, which has a different gem in it. So my damage is not delayed. And now I have like, I don't know, it's hard to say, maybe like 1-2 second time frame to push her. I would say somewhere like here, it is determined that what minion she's spawning. And we see she spawned 3 ads. So this fight is now normal. Like everything is fine. I can progress this fight, can speed it up a little bit. Just to show you that this also works. This will work better for different builds than mine, probably. But yeah, so now you have seen that it is technically possible. Might be very easy to do on Bone Spear, for example, because your burst is way more consistent. It's not as high as Mendeln, but it's more consistent. Okay, now we can hop back to the footage here. Now we're going to show you like a phase 1 skip, like the first set of ads. Because I got asked how I actually do that amount of damage. It's basically, I'm tracking my my buffs a bit. Like right now, Shadow Blight is stacking up. Like here, now I use everything because I'm in this 120% buff, and my first hit almost killed her. Then now she will go up and spawn the second set of ads, the second set of wave patterns. We kill the second set of ads, and the fight is done. After this, I will show you another bug that can happen. Like right now, everything is dead. She jumped up, and now she dies for some reason, even though she's off screen. But since she jumped up, the wave pattern is already triggered. So there will be a wave pattern now. This can happen to you. This will most likely catch you off guard if you do not expect it to happen. And now we hop into footage of me killing her in one go. I used a elixir for this. Normally I don't, and I'm still running my dungeon build that I'm always using because it's just overkill to do something else. What I mainly do is keep track of my buffs, wait for a Barber to proc. We'll see it in probably like 3 seconds from now. there's the Barber proc. So right now, a new Barber is accumulating damage, and I'm at least currently in the state of having the 40% buff here. I don't really see my Shadow Blight buff because it's would be further to the right, but yeah, we don't see enough buffs in this game for some reason. But I kinda know that I'm in the state of 120% damage increase from Shadow Blight. It's just you get used to it. Like I always delay my damage a little bit and then I pop everything. And now you will see me hit her for a reasonable damage amount. And also by the time of the elixir, you can tell that this is basically my first try today. I only made it for the footage. Bam, 520 million, totally reasonable. That's how it's supposed to be as a necromancer, because this game is fully balanced. Now you see me again unequipping my sacrilegious heart because I don't want to consume all the corpses. But yeah, there was only one anyway. And now there's nothing really special happening. You can skip the goo spawn if you go for a full Mendeln single target Lilith burst build. If you really feel the need to not dodge anything at all, but you see, like in general, with this damage, this will already be very, very easy to do. There is no reason to go for a specific build. You have to do one dodge set probably, and that's about it. Yeah, now I can just keep it running. On this one, I just like go around and take another turn. Here it is a little bit important when she spawns her image on the last platform. Even though I kill her now, the image can still kill you. Just take care of that, keep dodging, and you're fine. So that basically was it. That should cover almost everything. One thing I want to mention in the end as well, since you have seen me killing Lilith without a weapon, the reason for that is that Mendeln itself has base damage. You can deem it as an offhand or something like that. Like, you can't use your abilities if you have a Mendeln equipped. But when it procs, it does completely not care about your weapon damage. It does care about your crit chance, crit damage, and vulnerable damage, as well, to my knowledge, about every other damage. Like damage to close, damage to shadow dot targets, everything like that. That will work. But everything else is basically irrelevant for Mendeln to scale. And also like the multipliers from the Paragon tree, Shadow Blight, that also does work. So I guess that was it. Hope it helped. Take care. I'm out.